podcast right now. So
right on.
Yeah. Let's see. We've got some people in the chat already.
We do. Hello. Hi, Eva. Hi, everybody joining us. So, yeah, we'll wait till you guys populate before we start talking. But, yeah, I felt like, I would like to say I felt like being a blonde, but really I just didn't feel like washing my hair again. So, I'm cheating.
I was going to say you have to, one guest that I kind of want to see you bring on with Big Ray is Nick. And you usually go blonde when you have Nick on the show. So
Nick.
Yeah, have her. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I should have him back on.
Because Ray used to be a PI, so I think the two of them would, and then the comic book thing and his other show and all that stuff. So, yeah, I think that would be a fun guest to have on in the future.
Yeah, we actually had a really good show last week, and for some reason there's no clip of it, so I need to get a clip going. And anytime you guys do your little clips, it's awesome. We appreciate it. But yeah, we had on my old teacher. Man, literally, man, my brain is slow today. Yes, Roland. Thank you, Roland Mann on and of Silverline Comics and formerly a Marvel Comics editor. So if you guys haven't seen last week's show, it's actually really worth taking a look at because it was a lot of fun and we covered a lot of things, everything from like how to write your own comics to current events embroiled in comics and working, the Bronze Age and all the ages. It was really, really, really interesting if you are a fan of pop culture and comic culture.
I wonder if they make lit students study comic books, because you think that would be a part of literature. Like they would.
They do. That's how I met them.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a required class. So, Allie, hi, what's up? Cool, awesome dude. Thanks for everybody joining us tonight.
So. I think we're live. I'm glad to be back, April. Thank you for asking me. Now, I did have a little funny story that I was teasing you before we got on. So it is Ray's anniversary. So that's why he's not here. So I had some technical difficulties.
Or his Slammiversary.
Yes. No, that's TNA. Oh my gosh. TNA Slammiversary. Oh my God. There were some horny people when they were back there making all of that stuff. That's crazy.
Okay.
So I'm trying to ask him what's going on here, and he sends me some pictures. Well, at first
were they naked?
No.
Okay.
No. I do have those pictures, but he didn't send me those. No fresh ones. I was like, yo, Ray, I need to know which one I use for Rumble. Now I know I have to make my own every time. We can't just use the same one, right?
Okay.
So then he says, leave me alone. And since let me take off this virtual background real quick.
Oh my God, that's funny. Hi Fury. Hi Gamble First. Hey AB Twitch Alex, what's up?
So then he sends me this live picture of, I don't know what that is. It's potatoes and tomatoes and something. It looks delicious. It's got mozzarella on it. It's probably
anything that's got a pile
delicious.
Of cheese on it. It's all good.
And then he's flashing. Look at the titties for biddies. And then we've got the Caesar salad.
Oh yeah,
He's
doing it right. Salad. He's doing the anniversary right. Huh?
I don't have the drop, but I'll do it myself. Boobies.
There you go.
And then
we're working with a little bit less this week.
He didn't get dessert. Well, I'm sure he'll have dessert later, but he had dessert while he was at dinner. It's some kind of strawberry shortbread looking thing. It's some layers of cake in between whipped cream and
listen, I'm sorry. I lose respect for people that don't order things with chocolate. Like, why are you ordering things with fruit? Anything fruit, nuts, do not order that. That's healthy food. Just go. It's got to have chocolate. It's got to have caramel. Just go straight to it.
Or I'm a big fan of tiramisu myself.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, but that falls sort of into the chocolate caramelish category, even though it's cakey, coffee, cafe. Yeah.
Well, I've got to run in here.
You do.
Watch out. Yeah. Oh, come here.
What's up, little guy?
Come here. You want to say hey?
Hey.
Hi.
You say hi to everybody, Alex. It's been a while since you've been on.
You.
Yeah. How old are you?
3.
You're 3.
Oh, yeah. We're 3 now.
All right. You gonna go with your mom now? Yeah. Say bye, everybody. No, you gotta go. He's doing this show.
He gets cuter and cuter every time I see him.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a scare today. We don't know if he eats. He tends to stuff his mouth when he eats. And he had a choking scare when he was younger, and so today I was told that he had a choking scare today as well, over at his babysitter's. So, and then they said that he called for me after his traumatic experience when he was still
Oh,
in shock and everything. So that just, when I got home and I heard that, that just kind of like, even more, was just like, ugh, ugh.
oh,
Today could have been a
oh,
bad day.
oh, wow. Thank ye gods, old
Yeah.
and new, right? So everybody knows what they to do with him if he's choking, right? You've educated
Well,
everybody.
she did. Because she said that the lady watching her kind of freaked out and everything, and
Hmm.
she said she just slapped him on the back really hard. Nothing
Yeah.
came up, so I'm assuming he swallowed it.
Okay.
But when he had his scare with us, he was like 1 years old. So you have to do that weird baby Heimlich maneuver where on
Hmm.
the picture it looks like you're shoving your fist up the baby's ass, but really like your hands like holding the baby's chest and you're slapping it really hard on the back.
Hmm.
That that's what I had to do to him. But I was like fish hooking, and the
Yeah.
doctor was like, "Yeah, no, you don't do that." So
Oh,
now I feel like I've probably damaged his esophagus with my fingernails from like trying to get the whatever it was that was in his throat out. I think he was eating chicken. They so they're Hispanic. They're literally one generation removed from living in Mexico. So they're like, here's a chicken bone. We always give them chicken bones, right? So, and then I'm like, why are you doing this? And then one day she comes in and she's like, oh my god, he's choking. So I had to save him
they have
that
different
first time.
types of chicken in Mexico. They're a lot
Yeah,
softer.
yeah.
We have those hard ass GMO chickens up here. They have
You
to
gotta like
understand
boil
that
the bones.
our food is hard. It's just different here. So yeah.
Yeah, fun, exciting day.
Oh, I'm glad it worked out for in a
Yeah.
happy ending there.
Well, back to the Ray story though. So then he tries to guilt me into telling me that he is texting me from the bathroom. So, and then I told him to make sure he washes his hands and his phone because of, sure he's texting me while he's on the toilet. So
Yeah.
don't touch Big Ray's phone if he doesn't wipe it down. There's feces on it.
Oh my god.
You know.
There's like some study done where there's fecal on everybody's phone. Like that's your office now. That's where everybody texts, right? It's like, oh
Yeah,
my
pretty
god.
much.
So today, since we have people here, and thank you for joining us, I was going to tell you. Somebody told me a story about. It was really interesting about anger today, and I thought it was. I'll share it and see what you guys think. But of course, we'll talk about what's going on with our crazy political theater, and what your opinion is with the wildfires going on. I'm sure Colin might share some cryptocurrency stuff with us, maybe. Um, there was like some kind of inciting picture going around about the flag, which I guess we'll discuss that as well. And there was an interesting testimony that came out in the Senate as well with Dr. McCullough. So we can cover lots of that.
There's been a lot of interesting testimony
There's been a
coming
lot of
out
interesting testimony
in
coming
both
out,
sides of the House and the
which
Senate.
which I'm glad that you're here, because when we started this, we were just, a bunch of conspiracy theorists. In other words, spoiler alerts, telling people what to watch for, what was going to happen, what to look for, what to be aware of. And basically, if you go back and watch all our podcasts, every single thing we said was going to happen happened.
Mhm.
So it all came true. It all
So
happened.
you should call us
And
conspiracy truthers.
yes, truth seekers, yeah, exactly. So I know. Yeah, when I'll be honest with you, this was terrible, probably, but I don't know. I don't know. I want to say I don't know why I did it, but I do know why I did it. When this particular, when Dr. McCullough's testimony came out in the Senate last week, and if you haven't seen it, it is so worth watching or at least listening to. There is so much on there, including how to detox naturally from the spike protein, which we've probably all been exposed to in some way, shape, or form, because it is suspected now that it is transferable if you are in close contact with somebody who has been vaccinated within the first 30 to 90 days. So it's worth paying attention to, just to get all the information from an internist to a cardiologist, a virologist, which he is. So, and legit information, because information has been the one thing that we have not been allowed to have. They have just completely withheld information from us. Like, oh no, you can't have any information. And then they have the audacity to call people conspiracy theorists when they go and research and look things up on their own. So they try and label you after telling you, no, you can't have access to that. So now we have some real information. Like I said, look up the PA Senate trial information with Dr. Peter McCullough, and it'll blow your mind. And when I saw that, I sent that to close people who were close to me, who just really made me feel less than. And there were quite a few of them who made me feel like, oh, you're an alarmist. Oh, you're putting out misinformation, disinformation. Oh, you are this. Oh, you are that. Oh, you're going to cause people to die. And when that came out, I think I just felt so, it's a weird combination of, we never wanted to be right. I never wanted to be right, and validated at the same time for taking so much abuse. I mean, so much abuse. Like I was wished death, not once either, multiple times. I remember one time on Twitter, somebody said, I can't wait till you fucking die. I hope you die from COVID. And I cannot wait to read about it. And it's just like,
let me guess. Did they have like a flag in their profile picture where they have like a Ukraine flag or anything?
No,
like
it wasn't.
that?
We weren't there yet. We were poised on the edge, but not there yet with Ukraine.
But they probably lean more so on the left side of the aisle,
now.
correct? Right?
You know what I thought to myself, or I think I even said that. I said, well, I appreciate that from somebody who wishes everybody would get vaccinated for their health and good of the all. You obviously don't wish love and health and well-being to everybody if you wish that on people. So it was crazy.
Some of the most tolerant people are the most intolerant people.
Yes, they are. Yeah, the ones who love diversity are the ones that are like, "Fuck you."
Yeah, fuck you behind your back. Like,
fuck you. It's funny. It's like they're so intolerant, not just of conservatives, but moderates too. Like you can't even, like, we are here very moderate show. Our viewers are often moderates because moderates don't have much of a voice because we don't play into that divide and conquer bullshit that's going on. We can see all sides. And hi, Fred. Hi, Chuck. Hi, everybody coming in late. Thomas. Hello. Yeah. Thomas goes, Paul Revere was an alarmist. Good company to be in. Thank you.
I love it. We got some more. I got to whip out boobies.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we got
boobies.
We got biddies for titties. Thank you.
And she showed me your boobies too.
I hate that one. You're irritating. No, but thank you. But yeah, I sent it to people. And, some people never wrote back to me. Another one told me that he stands corrected and he felt that the vaccine probably killed his son. I mean, people since then, I've seen their wives die, their children die, their spouses struggling with organ failure and on the edge of death, and they probably will die, like all kinds of stuff happening since then. Mm-hmm. And one of my friends came at me just refused to watch it. He was just convinced 100% that McCullough is nothing but a conspiracy theorist and he's a fake doctor and all of this is fake and none of it's happening. And, that was just like, oh my God, what does it take? Exactly.
It would have to take someone in his own life, like in his circle of people that he knows, for it to happen to. I mean, there's literally people dying on Zoom calls. Perfectly healthy. I think do you listen to Sam Tripoli any?
No, but I'll tell you. Oh,
he was talking about that where a guy that he knows died on a Zoom call, and another person that he knows died also just randomly of a heart attack. Suddenly died. Sorry, that's what they're saying.
Died suddenly.
Died suddenly.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of athletes die too, and McCullough explains that in the testimony about how the heart rhythms they pick up between 3 and 5 in the morning. You have a burst of heart REM sleep, and that's why a lot of people die suddenly in the middle of the night. So
that makes sense.
Which is why the athletes are dying. So he explains a lot of this. So it is worth watching. And he also explains what you can do to detox from the spike protein as well, to safeguard yourself and the people around you who have taken it, what they're discovering, what to watch out for, what not to do, what to take. So, like I said, it's worth watching. But yeah, it's like, and then here's what happens to me, because I'm so like in my own head. I'll see one of my friends who does what he did. He'll deny it. No, 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 everybody's crazy. And I'll think to myself, what does it take? What does it take for somebody to see it? And then I start wondering about myself. I'm like, oh God, maybe I'm the one that's brainwashed. Maybe I'm the one that's wrong. Maybe he's right and I'm wrong. And I'm sitting here spreading misinformation. And then it comes back on me. This is what happens. I'm like, maybe I'm the bad person, This is what happens. I got to call my friends. I'm like, am I
you're not
crazy?
Spreading misinformation. You're not crazy, because YouTube is now allowing what they called misinformation for like the last 2 years.
I know, but it happens because I just try I try to be so open-minded about it all. Like, I need to like stay in touch with myself. Like, am I wrong? I always want to ask, am I wrong? Is it possible I'm wrong? What about this could be wrong? Because I always maintain I could always be wrong. I've always said that. And hi, Don from Leesburg. How are you doing? Thanks for joining. Yeah, Fred goes, you're self-gaslighting. I am, yeah, I am. But I don't want to have a voice on any type of media, especially with the amount of people who follow me on social media, and steer them in a wrong direction if I can avoid it. So, especially for as many times as I've been right, and then you say the wrong thing and you lose credibility like that, or you lead somebody off a cliff. I don't want to do that. So, you know what I mean? Anyway, so yeah, that happens.
You got me thinking when you said the thing about the sleep in the 3 to 5 minutes. Like, I would like to
hours between 3 and 5.
Yeah, I would like to look into that, because well, more so like what goes on when we're sleeping. Because I mean, have you ever just gone to bed and you wake up sore? Like, what are we doing in our sleep that makes like how am I more sore? Like, I've been laying in bed, this comfy bed that I spent all this money on. And like, I'm hurting the next day. So it's like, I wonder if like, they talk about the multiverses and all these other things, like what if
everybody is kung fu fighting,
I was just out doing other things, like, who knows?
Like in that, what is that movie? Like Everywhere All the Time. I forget that metaphysical movie that was
just recently came out, I think.
Yes, it was so good. So
had the guy from the Indiana Jones, the kid from Indiana Jones in it.
I don't know.
Now he's all grown up.
But the chick
the
was,
Asian guy?
yeah. It was like almost all Asian, and then she was just like running around like kicking ass.
The guy that won Best Supporting Actor in that movie, April, was Short Round from the little kid from Indiana Jones. Kid? Yeah, was the guy that won Best Supporting Actor in that movie.
No way. That was actually a really great movie. Thank you, Chuck Flicks.
Oh, it won Best Picture too, yeah.
Yeah. So, and thank you, Thomas. I appreciate that. Yeah, I know. There's a million examples of people in history who were dissidents and alarmists. And I'm sure they were, I don't know, maybe they weren't called things back then because people weren't exposed to the fake media, that has an agenda and is only owned by what is 5 or 6. Some people say 5 companies. I think it's 6 companies, but you
got to be careful too with, like you said, with how information is disseminated nowadays. You can like literally. So I watch the stock market, and I don't know if you heard a few weeks ago when that supposedly AI image of an explosion in Washington D.C. happened.
Wow, no.
So there was a tweet that came out that there was an explosion close to the Pentagon in Washington D.C. Right. I watch the stock market every day. The market literally went, and until it was confirmed that it was a fake AI image and there was no explosion or nothing like that, the market immediately, like, if you look at the chart, there's like a steep like V shape where the market just dives down and then immediately like goes back up in like the 5 or 10 minutes that it realized that it was a fake thing. I mean, information like that affected the stock market, right? Like,
remember the fake crazy. Twitter account? The fake Twitter account for the diabetic the
Oh yeah,
insulin,
yeah. And
and
it
they
dropped
lost
that.
like billions with that. It's free now, So I think we're really in for something. We're in for a wild ride with AI coming up. Like it's
Well,
already starting.
but this also got me thinking, and I wanted to bring this. I'm glad you kind of went down this road because I was thinking this when I was driving. Now, I have a challenge for everyone. You can try it. You cannot try it. What's up, Jay Hall? Try it for like a week,
Okay.
2 weeks, 3 weeks,
If
a
it
month.
involves push-ups, fuck you.
No, you don't have to work out. You
Okay,
don't have
good.
to work out at all. All you have to do is don't partake in like politics. Don't
Okay.
watch TV. Don't watch us. Like, and I know that hurts us for a month or whatever, right? Watch us the rest of this month. Take another month off. It's
Well, what
fine.
if we do a week where we just don't do politics?
That's well. I'm just saying, like, try to. So we were talking. I heard them talking about brainwash. I heard somebody talking about brainwashing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine if you just lived your. Think about how like Amish
Like the
people live.
Amish.
Yeah. So just cut everything out
Yep.
and see how you live, right? So like you're not, because we get all this inundation of the cryptocurrency and Trump
Yep.
and COVID and all this other stuff, right? See if you actually go spending your money, go to the grocery store, don't pay attention to the prices, right? Just live your life. Just for, test this
Buy
out,
in
live your
cash
life.
too. Use
Yeah,
cash.
and see if you actually notice, like, all right, there's a change in prices. If you notice too, like your mental health is a little bit better. If you're like, man, I'm
It will
not,
be way
I really
better.
don't care about that type of stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Like I'm, since I
Yeah.
haven't been podcasting, I've only really been focusing on like other things like work and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I tune in, but it's liberating, not necessarily being inundated with
Yep.
all that type of information and stuff like that all the time.
Well, that's why I'm really slow. It's terrible. I have not gotten back to a lot of messages like I should, but I get burned out. Everything I do is on a screen, so it's really hard for me to avoid. Like I don't watch the news, but you can't avoid it because it's constantly regurgitated
Yeah.
online, and everything I do is online. I have to be on social media to push things. I have to be in my. So the one thing I avoid all the time is my email, which is like the worst thing ever. But I will go an entire week without looking at my email, and people are like, did you see the thing I sent you? And I'm like, you have to text me if you send me anything. I don't look at anything because everything, it's like the newsletters and the this and the headlines and the thing. Like when all that craziness started with the virus, I got to where I'm like, no. I couldn't do it anymore. Like
Yeah.
I just got it was so much, and I also found that some of these things were so informative too. I couldn't find myself like, getting off the pages too, because they're also, for me, I'm a patterner. Like I can see where everything's going.
Yeah.
Because I can pick up patterns. So I need those pieces of the puzzle that certain places can provide so I can see and predict in order to do my job right here on the show or write my blog and things like that. But that's hard to get a balance of not enough information, too much information. So if that makes sense.
Well, and the fact that you now that we have these, you can pretty much ask yourself any question ever in the world, and it's pretty much right there at your fingertips. I mean, before you had to, think about the encyclopedias that you had to carry around with you if you wanted all the world's knowledge.
Let me tell you, I can ask myself, I can go on here and ask how old I am and when I was born and what size breasts I have, and it all comes up wrong. So if it's on the internet, it must be true.
Yeah, it's totally true. Wikipedia is
Yes.
the new encyclopedia.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So look, apparently the chat, they really want to talk about AI.
Let's talk about it.
So we've got Fred here. Here's a question: if you use AI tons, did you solve it with a question or did the bot?
I haven't used AI yet. I'm like in the dark ages still. I want to learn to use it to try and offset like some of my workload or try and figure out that that's even a thing. I'm actually going to lunch with Laurie, Dream Laurie, Lowenberg tomorrow. I plan to pick her brain a little bit. She's been very entertaining with her. Thanks, cool, awesome dude. With her AI fails. So I thought I would try and see if she might be able to lead me in a direction.
Well, there's just so many. So, like, there's so many different things now that they have AI for. And one of the stock YouTubers that I listen to every day, he was talking about, don't talk to me about AI until someone's opening up a fully automated factory that is totally run by AI. Like it's running the robots, it's fixing everything, it's doing everything, it's changing the amount of all of that stuff that it does.
Yeah.
There's the boobies right there.
Yes, thank you for your biddies. Here's the titties.
That's that you can't artificially intelligence those. Those are
Oh, you probably can some way. They are artificial. They're just not that intelligent.
Hey, they get the boys to stare at them, so there's clearly something there, right? But there's so many uses for like AI, like the Adobe just came out, like they have a beta test for their AI, and you can literally, April, like this background right here, right? With like I'm gonna take us off, and I'm gonna let's see, how do we oh, I just took myself off, didn't mean to do that.
Oh, Alex, okay. I have a lot of ideas, I just never get around to any of them. Well,
so like take our banner here that we have behind us, right?
Okay.
I can take and like circle a certain area, and a little box comes up, and then I can say city street at night, blue lights, and it would change whatever I circled, and it would put a cityscape, blue lights, just how I said it, AI generated. And you could sit there and change, and it would have different options, so I could find like the perfect one. Or I could like circle your dress, and I could be like, put a different jungle patterns or something like that, right? And it would sit there and change according to the AI on. So now it's basically like you know how you type into Google, your search engine, what you want to ask, and it brings it up to you. Now with whatever it is that you're working on, you're like, oh, I want this, and it immediately just will start pulling that type of stuff up for you.
Well, if you had noticed, I AI'd my hair. I changed the color. I said I wanted to do, lighter hair tonight. So this is all AI.
Yeah, there's so many, like, you can supplement a lot of your writings and stuff like that. Now, there are some people, like Roland said last week, if AI is writing the comic book, then is it really art? Like, is it, I'm not really doing it.
Well,
I want to do my own writing.
Well, I'll tell you, I some of you know, I wrote a children's book, cheap plug. It's on Amazon, Monty, A Tale of No Tale. And I had a hell of a time finding an artist for it. In the end, I got really lucky.
This was true. This actually happened.
Oh, apparently there's a lawyer who used AI for a case, and the AI mentioned cases that didn't exist, and the judge wasn't pleased. Wow. So I read something about how the AI is rewriting like the 10 Commandments too.
Yeah, a lot of it's not right. Like like when Google did their first test, their AI failed and put in false stuff, like trying to answer questions because it didn't know. Now I'm waiting for Apple to release their AI, because think about it, almost everybody has an Apple phone, and your phone sends all that diagnostic stuff back to Apple. Almost, you got an Apple Watch, any kind of Apple product you use,
right?
Like, so they have so much information on everyone. If they were able to plug that in and teach an AI, they would probably have one of the better AI systems out there in the market.
We all waited around for Apple TV, and it ended up being worth it. They gave us Ted Lasso and Silo, so don't fret, it's coming. But anyway, what I was going to say is I had a hard time finding. I went through like 4 or 5 different artists who were like, "Yeah, I'll do it," and they kind of flaked off until I found the artist who would work with me with my children's book. Had AI been an option at that time, I might have been able to do my children's book using that instead. I don't know if that's a possibility, but I think I probably would have.
No, I'm pretty sure you could, because there is a lot of AI generated art out there where you basically give it the parameters and it does it. So I'm sure in the future, just like we license StreamYard and all these other things, you're as a professional, if you want to be next level and do all these other things, you're going to have to license ChatGPT or whatever next AI thing is the next big thing for you to be able to use that art, or for it to proofread your writings and all that type of stuff. See, she's got me distracted here with the
somebody sent Corgos. You guys are throwing some. I gotta say, you guys are throwing a little bit more biddies tonight, and I'm thinking it's because I'm blonde.
I think it's probably because of me, April.
It might be you. So So I wanted to throw this in real quick. I had a meeting with my attorney today over something completely unrelated to AI and everything we're talking about. But he said this, and I thought it was interesting. He said that Trump is not going to jail. It's not going to happen because it would set a legal precedent for investigations into this current administration and administrations beforehand, because basically all presidents have done some dodgy stuff. So if you were to do it with one, you got to do it with them all. So
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
Have you checked out any of Tucker on Twitter?
Yes, I have.
Did you see the most recent episode?
I don't think so. I saw the first, maybe the second.
He talked about Trump in the third
Okay.
one, and he basically says, like, he plays a clip where he's saying that when he pissed off permanent Washington. Now, he's not saying the left or the right. He's saying permanent Washington, which we all know.
The ones that never ever leave.
The ones that never leave. The ones that are really running things. He said, and they played the Republican debate when he basically came out and said there were no weapons of mass destruction. They lied to you. And like people in the audience booed and all this stuff, right? Tucker pointed that out as the moment when Trump became the target, where they've tried to come up with all this false stuff. And it's crazy because, and you know, not to play the left and the right thing, but we literally have a president in office who they have video evidence of him sitting there joking about how he bribed the Ukraine guy to get the people to stop investigating his son and didn't give him the $5 million. There's actual evidence. If any DA had that on us, guess where we would be? We would not be sitting here doing this show right now.
Yeah.
So people get treated differently based on what they got going on in life. So
yeah. Yep. So it's interesting to see the hypocrisy and the two tiers of rules. So you got rules and you got rules. So it's interesting. So yeah. Anyway, so there was that. There's also been some protests out in LA that have not been. Sorry, my dog got up and just is like very clumsy and bumping into things. You okay there, boss? He's just like big stretch. So there's been some protests out in LA that are not televised, with parents getting pretty upset because I guess they have decided to do a Pride Month all month long and teach it in class, but they're not allowing any religious ideology. So they're allowing the Pride ideology, but no type of religious ideology. So they're basically freaking out because, like, why are you allowing one but not the other? So, and 30 days of it. So that is obviously not on the news. We're not seeing any of that. Also, the wildfires in Canada are pretty interesting. It's interesting how they spread across the entire country, or they were set. So there's I don't know if you saw the video of the helicopter dropping fire.
No, I did not.
So there's video footage of the helicopter dropping fire into a very thick forest, and a lot of firefighters have come forward and said that's not backburning. So if you watch the way the wind is blowing, we backburn on the ground. We don't do it against the wind, and we do it in open area to this. That's not backburning. That's arson.
You want to know something else that you're not hearing about? Did you know that there are ports in California that are shut down because the workers are on strike?
No, I did not.
Well, you know, California being a big hub for imports as well as New York, but their ports are on 6/2. It was reported on CNBC that a West Coast port shut down as union workers no-show after breakdown in wage negotiations.
Oh, wow. And just like the writer's strike, the writers are on strike right now.
And we almost had the train issue. Literally before the train derailments, the train union was going and fighting with the government and stuff over the contracts and everything that they were going to do with the trains. And I think Biden almost had to step in on that. So that's some chaos that they're not really talking about. That's
There's a
very
lot of
important.
chaos going on that they're not talking about. They censor a lot of it. So yeah, the writer's strike, you're going to see a rise of reality TV. That's what happened last time because they got to fill content. They don't have writers to do it, so they're going to do reality TV. Why were the fires set? Because they want to do a land grab, basically, is the theory. So if you'll notice, a lot of the fires are out in the country. They want to move country folks into the city because what they're doing is they're implementing a C40 agenda, which is the 15-minute cities. They don't like when people live out in the country because they're more self-sufficient. They grow their own food. They are reliant on each other. And if you are watching what's happening, a lot of the people in Alberta are working together and they're coming to their local governments and they're saying, you guys aren't helping us. They're getting denied help. Or in Nova Scotia, there's over 200 firefighters who were retired who are offering to come back in the service. And the government is saying, thanks, but no thanks. We don't need you. So they're actually just letting it burn. They're literally letting it burn because they're trying to destroy that land.
Yeah.
So why are they trying to destroy that land? What's to be gained from that?
More construction, destruction of natural resources. There's a lot to gain from forcing people from their native lands and stuff like that.
Yep. And forcing people to move into cities where they can be easily controlled, corralled, forced onto a different way of living.
This is probably the perfect time to go back and read 1984 because again, with the Pride Month stuff, I've been seeing a lot of government like, hey, talking to your children. So like in 1984, the government was more so in charge of your children than God or your parents, and then the 15-minute cities, the working out. I've heard some things about mandatory workouts. Also, the food. There, if the Internet of Things.
Communism is worshiping the state, not God. So we're getting to that point where we're worshiping the state. We're worshiping whatever political party we're with. And so, someone brought up that Bill Gates is buying a lot of farmland. Exactly right. So when land has long been the way to wealth everywhere. So in America, land was everything. People came here for land. Land, it was all about the land. So the way to make money is to own land. So right now, I believe about at least 50% of the land in this country is owned by a corporation. And during COVID, when the lockdowns were so severe that you would get punished, fined, thrown out, ostracized, shamed if you didn't wear a mask, and bullied if you didn't get vaccination, the BLM was allowed to riot everywhere. And there were no issues with that. When they did that, the value of the land and the property dropped dramatically. No coincidence, corporations snap that up real fast. And when there are fires on properties and people are buying up farmland super fast, that can happen too. They're deliberately trying to devalue property. They're allowing it to happen so that it can be grabbed up at a cheaper price.
Did you know that you can buy a house for $30,000 in Flint, Michigan?
Yeah. Why? Because the water was never fixed.
None of it's terrible up there.
Yeah.
But $30,000 will get you a house that you can rent out, Airbnb, do whatever you want with it.
To buy the house, because you know what? Enough corporations buy it, they're going to fix it and turn it around.
Or they'll offer you money for it when they're ready to come in and bulldoze it all and build the development for it. So go get you a couple $30,000 houses in Flint, Michigan.
So here's the funny thing. Gates said that Florida was going to be underwater in a certain amount of years, and then turned around and bought a whole bunch of Florida waterfront property, including a lot in Tampa.
I wonder what his insurance policy is on that.
I don't know. It's probably got to be high. But if he actually believed what he said, why would he buy land? Why would he put money into Florida?
There's something I remember some land thing going on because the under Obama, he had the issue with the farmers that they were trying to take their land or something like that. And the farmers are like, yo, this has been our land for hundreds of years. Like we farm on this land. You can't do that. Like, we're not gonna be able to make money and survive. And they had like a standoff. And I think they ended up arresting the father or the son. But we'll be seeing a lot more of this stuff as they try to take land and do these types of things that that a lot of people are gonna be like, oh well, you took the Indians' land. No, the government took the land, not the people that own the land now. The
And
government's
it's
just
not,
doing
you
it
can
all
trust
over
the
again.
government. It's not like the government would give somebody smallpox blankets. It's not like they would make them sick deliberately to kill them and depopulate. That would never happen. We can
No, they
trust
wouldn't
them,
do
right?
anything like that. They
No, that's
wouldn't
never
tell you that
happened.
the Cuban Missile Crisis or anything like that, right? Hide under your desk. Make sure you hide under your desk.
Yeah, fear, terror, fear. When you have fear and terror, it actually shuts off the logical thinking in your brain, and you're running on like adrenaline, and you become so messed up internally. So you have to make a conscious effort to recognize it for what it is and stop playing into it, stop being manipulated by it. And like you said, go for a couple days where you don't watch any podcasts, don't watch ours, don't watch any news, don't get on social media, and see how your body reacts and see if you calm down. And then you can come back and realize, oh, this is just manipulation. So
So I well, I
that's what we
popped
try and do
in.
here. We try and make you aware of
Yeah,
what's going on.
I, I
So
I popped in on an A Show extra that Ray was doing with Billy Ray Valentine, and one of the things that they talked about was the bike incident. And I said that a lot of these incidents, if you think about it, they want to get that emotional reaction out of you, because
mhm.
the first thing you do is think emotionally, and then you make that rash decision. If you
Yeah,
think logically, you'll think about it, and you won't necessarily jump. So like
right.
they got you with the BLM stuff, they got you with the All Lives Matter stuff, they got you with the COVID and the mask stuff, right?
Hmm.
They got you with the lady in the bike stuff, right? So
Right.
like they create these emotional moments, and you have to think, all right, am I emotionally reacting to this at this moment in time, or am I logically thinking about this and responding and reacting to this in a logical manner, instead of I'm just so angry, and then afterwards you're like, oh wait, they lied to me about that.
That's an
The
EQ though. That's a
the
high
laptop
EQ.
was real. Oh
Yeah.
shit, damn,
That that is
I was wrong
having an
about
high
that.
EQ. That's an emotional, like an IQ, but EQ is emotional.
I
So
I
you have to
cut
have
my whole
that.
family off because they said the laptop was real, and I didn't want to be around them.
Yeah.
I'm fuck.
So
Like,
here, yes, that's a thing. It's very powerful when corporations and media can make you cut your family off, can make you lose lifetime friends. Like, how much power is that? Why are we giving it to them? So here's a story someone told me today that I thought was really worth sharing. It's a story about the Buddha and anger. So the Buddha was sitting there, and a man walked up to him and spit on him. And the Buddha said, okay. And he just kept sitting there. And the man's like, what's wrong with you? Why won't you react? And the Buddha said, well, the anger is a gift. And I'm refusing your gift. I don't want your gift. So I'm giving it back to you. You can have it. You keep it. Keep your anger. And I thought, I thought about that. If we decide, really think about that. People try to give us their anger, and it spreads, right?
mm-hmm.
And we have that option of saying, that's your gift. I don't want it. Thanks. I'm good. Okay. I'm good. And you have the option of saying, I don't want it. That's not for me. Thanks. And you take a non-emotional stance to it and decide, because everything is a decision, right? You watch a game, right? And one team's going to lose and one team's going to win, and people get so uptight or so excited. But realistically, all that happened was a game was played.
Mm-hmm.
We have emotions invested on whether or not somebody won or lost. But the only logical thing that happened was the game was played. So what emotions we choose to invest in that game on either side, or Democrat or Republican or whatever the fuck's going on, because they like to divide us into two with everything. I really like the color red. Oh, that means you hate blue. Why do you hate blue? Are you a racist, a blue racist? So that's how it is now. You can sit there and go, okay, and just decide not to. Yeah, I don't want your blue racist red bullshit. I'm done. You know what I mean? You can decide you don't want that, and just
I think
decide not to have it. You
that
keep your gift. You keep your anger.
that emotional development also comes with age and knowing that you're doing it, because again, having my son, you see if you give him that attention, he's
Mm-hmm.
gonna keep doing it, right? So like you said,
Yes,
if you get
reaction.
angry, he's gonna be
It
satisfied that
feeds.
you got angry.
Yeah, because
You're
he's trying to give
showing
you a
him,
gift.
yeah, he's trying to give you a gift. So you gotta, like you said, the emotional reaction of things. Like I guess that was a good
Mm-hmm.
segue with me talking about that. But
Mm-hmm.
the 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 reptile side of our brains, you have to fight that, because if you let
Yep.
that win, that's always that impulse. That's that little thing, like that's just ticking at the back of your head. That's like, do it. I always feel like the reptile brain is the devil on your shoulder, and the
Could be.
normal logical brain is like the angel on your shoulder. That's like,
Could be.
yeah, you probably should wear your seatbelt when you get in the car. And it was like, no, you gotta hurry up and get to fucking work. like there's those moments where you have those things, or like it just you see something and then you just get so frustrated, like, oh god, I'm so mad, or I'm so happy for this, like, and realistically, like, you're giving that person the the benefit of seeing you like that. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
always like to
They get a satisfaction of going, yeah, I pissed them off. I gave them my anger.
like, if somebody, let's take for example, somebody's making fun of your mom, right? And they call
Mm-hmm.
your mom like a whore or something like that. Like, a lot of times, if you diffuse the situation, they won't know what to say anymore either. They're kind of like thrown off guard, like you said with the Buddha thing. Like, no, I'm not going to get mad at you. Like, God, my mom did have like 5 guys in her room last night. What the fuck is, like, he's going to be thrown off. Like, bro, he
Yeah.
just called his mom a whore. Like,
Yeah.
so like that's going to throw you off too, because you're not giving them that
Mm-hmm.
time of day. You're kind of, you're not yes anding their argument. You're totally blocking their argument,
Mm-hmm.
and or you are yes anding it and just going along with them, and then that's just going to piss them off even more.
Yeah.
I find
Yeah.
sometimes it's more fun if the person
Your
like
mama's a
Buddha
whore.
did.
Yeah, and she should get a pay raise too. Fuck.
Yeah, right. Like, I've got bills to pay. You just keep going with
I
it,
got
and most
college loan.
people, yeah, they'll leave you alone. They'll be like, okay, this guy. they
Mm-hmm.
when people are rude with me on the phone, I tend to do that because you've already wasted my time. So
Mm-hmm.
now I'm going to waste your time, and I do it with a smile on my face. And sometimes it's hard because they'll be like, "Are you being an No, I'm not. No, I genuinely need to know if." They're like, they get so mad, and you're just like, yeah, yeah, I'm doing this with a smile on my face.
I have to remember too, no reaction is a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody asked if I was blonde now, just tonight. It's just for tonight. Every once in a while, I like to switch it up. So Winona says, I do, however, believe that all spiritual practices are necessary because they all share the basic common threads. They do, yeah. If you even go way back to some of the original ones, they do share some of the basic threads. And I honestly think that um, spirituality, whether you're spiritual or religious, whatever it is, I think that there's such a war on spirit on God or spirituality or religion because that's part of what helps us ascend with our vibration. It helps
Mm-hmm.
lift us up. And anything that can be, keep us down at a lower level of vibration, like anger, frustration, depression, um, anxiety, any of that vibe spreads and it spreads to other people too,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've seen that. And that's what they want. They want that dark energy. Whereas high energy also spreads. You walk in, and people are having, and spirituality also tends to be like a higher energy. You have that joy, happiness, hope, laughter,
Mm-hmm.
confidence. That's an up energy, and a lot of people, find hope in spirituality or companionship with it. Like, I'm not alone, I got this on my side, I got, so
Well, that makes a lot of sense, because if we are beings of vibration and beings of energy,
mhm,
then we would, sense that off of each other and feel that
mhm,
energy, because the energy never goes anywhere. It just kind of flows from
right.
point to point.
But it can vibrate at different levels.
Yeah. Yeah.
So keeping the collective, because I do think we're all connected, keeping the collective at a lower vibration, I think is actually an end game here for whoever is actually pulling the puppet strings on our government or any government. I don't think we actually have a government. They're just people.
And Didn't they just recently changed, let's see, 528 hertz is a frequency that plays a central role in the musical mathematical matrix of creation and is one of the 9 solfeggio frequencies. It is the most studied frequency by science and has many benefits of mind, body, and soul. It is also known as the frequency of life and transformation. Didn't they recently change music's frequency? Like
Yeah, I heard that.
they dumbed it down or something like that. Like it's not the same as it was now.
Well, I mean, like Buck Cherry, right? Come on. There's a reason there are some really good musical artists that probably never will ever get on the radio, and Buck Cherry did. But yeah, yes, they did change the frequency for music, and there's certain megahertz that we are at. That's when we do our that's when we have our dreams where we solve problems too. So
it looks like music is tuned at 440 hertz, but they are starting to do more 432 hertz in the in music now. Which it's funny because I looked this up in 2018. It says the Great 440 Hertz Conspiracy and Why All of Our Music is Wrong. It'd be interesting to read that back in 2018 and see how it is now. There we go. So Thomas is right. There we go. So the Google search had it backwards. It's 432. They changed it to 440. But yeah, all vibrations, all frequencies.
Do you ever wonder why there's so much control? Speaking of things like that, do you ever wonder why back in the day 2 people could have an issue, and they could in a saloon, and they could take their guns and go outside and shoot each other in front of the sheriff, and nobody intervened? Nobody intervened. They let them do it. They could draw on each other. And now you need a license to go fishing. You need a license to have a dog. They want you to register your garden. They're trying to keep you from having chickens. So do you see where we've gone from being sovereign citizens to completely like more and more and more enslaved and needing a license and permission to do everything? Like, being able to travel and feed ourselves and feed our families, that is a God-given or a natural right. Anybody should be able to travel anywhere. Humans have always been nomadic. Nobody should be giving us permission to go anywhere or work. Yet during COVID, they took all of that away. And they're trying to do that now with these land grabs, and they're going to try and continue to do it. So in the 1800s, I don't want to say mid 1800s, I could be wrong about around the date, but mid to late 1800s, they decided to make America a corporation. So when you say that you're a citizen here, it actually means you're an employee. You're not sovereign anymore. So once we became employees, then we needed a license for everything. Oh, Eva's saying 1886. So why do we need licenses to do everything now? Why can't we just live and let live? Why do you need a birth certificate for your own baby? Why do you need a social security number for everything?
Well, they say if you don't use your social security number for 7 years, it gets put back into the system. And then if you don't die or anything like that, then you just don't have a social security number anymore. So you're technically legally dead.
Taxes. It's for
but
taxes.
you can't then do anything that needs a social security number.
Right. Which is everything. That's how you access anything, your last 4 digits of your social security. They've made it that way. So, yeah.
That's just, I looked into a lot of that sovereign citizen stuff back in the day because they say right around 2018, actually 2018, 2019, that the way the laws are written and the Constitution's written that the police are only allowed to stop you because the roads are used for commerce. And if you're just traveling from house to house, you're technically not doing commerce. You're traveling, and you're traveling. They're supposed to let you travel freely and not stop you and all that type of stuff, right? So don't try fighting any of that stuff in court. You know, I've seen people get in some serious trouble because I'm a sovereign citizen and I'm traveling in my thing and I'm da 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 da, and the cops tasering them and they're still like, So don't, and then it doesn't work in court when you're in there like, this is a maritime courthouse. No, it's a real courthouse. Like, just because a flag, that's a maritime flag, you're under maritime law. No, they're under the Constitution and you're going to jail for a long time. Don't try to fight it. But they believe, and back in the day, that if you're doing work, they can stop you. They can weigh you because you're licensed to use the road, right? You're being allowed a license. You get to entomology. We'll get to the entomology of cryptocurrency, right? So one of the things that a licenses do, if I license a product, I'm licensing April's name, right? I'm a license. I'm paying to use something. So now I'm paying to use the roads. I'm paying to use the lake to fish. You know, I'm paying to get a license to cut hair, you know, and all that other type of stuff, right? So, it's all a racket. It's all a way for them to make money. You know, another thing I was thinking of about them making money is the frog in the pot theory, right? What's the best way to boil a frog? Boil the water and then throw the frog in there? No, because as soon as you throw him and he feels that hot water, he's just going to bounce off.
No, you
of
put
it,
him in the pot first and just slowly turn the heat up.
Slowly turn it up, right? That's so look at us as a nation with inflation and stuff like that, right? Like the prices of everything that we're paying, gallon of milk is probably not going to go back under $4. Gas probably never going to go back to $1, right? So they're slowly getting you used to paying these, you know, you're getting used to $4 milk, right?
Well, that's what they said. I saw, an inflation thing where they said that they're raising the prices because American consumers are used to inflation, and they're used to paying more for groceries.
They're used to paying $20.
No one's complaining about it. We're just doing it, so they're going to keep doing it. Yeah.
And then 10 years from now, oh God, inflation again. Oh my gosh, everything's crazy. Your movie ticket's $20. Your gas is $10 a gallon. And then like 2 years later, you're like, yeah, I'm okay. Man, I wish gas was $6 a gallon. I remember when gas was $6.
Remember the good old days when it was just $6 a gallon?
$6.50. Oh man, you could fill up for $100, guys. It's just gonna keep going up. Like it's never gonna change. It's never gonna change. It's just gonna get worse.
Yeah. So
and there are alternatives because it's gonna get worse because we're on a fiat currency. April. There are alternatives like cryptocurrencies.
So I know that's what a lot of people are saying, that they're going to crypto, but it looks like they're doing crypto crashes all the time too. So,
well, getting to that before we get into the entomology about cryptocurrency, but the SEC, Gary Gensler, is trying to sue Coinbase and suing Binance, which is the largest. Like Binance is like the largest one in the world. Which there's a lot of people out there that believe that he has a personal vendetta against cryptocurrency. And if you notice, a lot of the ones that he's going after, he's not going after Bitcoin. He's not going after Ethereum. He's going after basically everything else, right? So, you know, your Bitcoin's your gold, your Ethereum's your silver. But I heard a really fun fact about Ethereum the other day that makes me worried. JP Morgan is apparently one of the biggest backers of one of the companies that started Ethereum. So the company that started Ethereum is basically largest investor is JP Morgan, who is also a bank. So maybe that's why Ethereum's not getting messed with. And I've also heard things about with Ethereum that supposedly it was worked into the contract that they could invalidate all transactions if they needed to. As a way, like they made a secret deal with the SEC so that they could have Ethereum because they were going to take them to court. And I don't know if you know about XRP or Ripple.
No, but I know that JP Morgan also does the Islamic banking as well, where they do the Islamic law. I'm blanking on the
Sharia, the
Sharia. They do
Sharia
law banking,
the usury and stuff like that.
Yep.
And they're not supposed to do usury. The Ripple they made a cryptocurrency called XRP, and what it does is it allows like transactions, cross-border transactions. Like it's really fast, it's really good. Well, they've been in a lawsuit with the SEC. You can't buy it, being an American, you can't buy it on American soil. They like the price was going up. It was a lot. And then when they went to court, they sank the price. The price is about 50 cents right now. But the supposedly they're going to win their lawsuit against the SEC, but it's being drug out and it's being right. But it's going to set a precedent, right? Like you said with the Trump thing, it's going to set a precedent. But with these other lawsuits and things like that, Gary Gensler can still screw with these other cryptocurrencies because we also don't know what judge is going to be in front of, they could be somebody that's part of Permanent Washington who's supposed to make sure that the court case doesn't get heard out. But with the arguments and everything that's going on, XRP, Ripple, they should win their lawsuit. And Ripple used to be the number 3 cryptocurrency in the world. You've never heard of it. It was the 3rd biggest cryptocurrency in the world, and they got taken out because they were getting too big.
Wow. That seems to be a common thing, getting taken out. So I thought this was interesting. I thought of you, and I meant to give you the pictures, but to find occult definitions, you need to separate it into 2 words. So cryptocurrency, and study their definitions. The prefix crypto comes from the Greek word kryptos, meaning hidden, concealed, and secret. As for the origin of the word currency, one of the origins is the Latin word currens, meaning to run. The definition in this paragraph do not tell you the deeper occult meanings of the word cryptocurrency. Therefore, you need to dissect it even further so it becomes the word crypt. One of the origins of the word crypt is for the Latin crypta, meaning vault or cavern. Another definition for the word crypt is a subterranean chamber or vault, especially beneath the main floor of a church, used as a burial place, a location for secret meetings, etc. In simple terms, it's a place where you bury the dead. When you put all the occult definitions of the words cryptocurrency and currency together, you should realize that cryptocurrency is hidden digital currency that the dark forces and their corporations or corpses want to use to control the global economy and drain mankind's life force energy. In other words, the word cryptocurrency is made up of the words crypt and crypto, a hidden vault for the dead, and currency, flow of energy. It can be translated to the hidden vault or chamber for storing energy for the dead or flowing energy to the dead. The good news is that we can prevent the dark forces from abusing cryptocurrency and learn how to use it in harmony with nature. Cryptocurrency can be an effective and convenient medium for exchanging goods and services. So this was written a while ago, so I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that with the hidden stuff because that's part of the whole thing about the anonymity behind cryptocurrency is that anybody can just open up a wallet and your name, your face, there's nothing attached to it but that wallet address, your public wallet address. Now, they can find out who you are based on tracing of the transactions and where you import money and stuff like that. That's the only thing that's not hidden about it. So it's technically not 100% anonymous. But I do like the whole, I don't know where the dead and the energy, where would we be?
There's more of a detailed description to that in the previous paragraphs talking about, how do I put it in layman's terms, if you haven't read the rest of the book, basically saying that we're enslaved and that our energy is used to power, to power the governments, more or less, when we're talking about low energy, high energy.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, us working and paying taxes,
yes,
we technically are, we are technically are working and using our energy for the government, and what little facade of freedom that we have.
Yes, energy is recognized as a key to all activity on Earth. Is
what if energy is time?
Could be. What if time is not linear?
Well, because time's the most valuable thing you have on Earth.
It is. But what if time isn't? I mean, everybody has experienced deja vu, right? Everyone. There's so many theories around it, but nobody knows exactly what it is. So everybody's experienced having seen something, heard something, said something, been there before. So We don't yet have a logical explanation for deja vu. What if that alone proves that time is not linear? That there is some kind of a crisscrossing.
Well, is it not funny? You think about it this way. Is it not funny that they use, when you get overcharged in court and they try to give you too many charges that are just outrageous or that just seem too crazy? What do they call that?
Wait, say that again?
They call it, so when you go to court, let's say I'm taking you
Fines.
to court. I'm the DA, right?
Right.
And I have outrageous charges that I'm charging you with.
Overcharges?
I'm overcharging you. Overcharging
Okay.
you way too much. Like I've charged you for battery, assault. Like I'm gonna put you in jail forever. What do they call that? If you don't know, I'm about to blow your mind.
What?
They call them trumped up charges.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well,
I've
heard
trump
that.
up charges.
Hmm.
They're overly like, right?
Right. Okay.
Who is this person that this
Right.
thing is named after, and it's happening now. So, I mean, there's time is linear. Has this happened before? Is Trump a time traveler, like he says?
I doubt it, but you wouldn't rule anything out these days.
I mean, you never know.
And Chuck, thank you for joining us tonight. I know you have to work early, so nice to see you again. So yeah, it's always funny to me when people, I'll see something and somebody will, you'll have I always read the comments. I love it. That should be my screen name. I read the comments. Because I read the comments. And I'll see somebody like, oh, you should wear a tinfoil hat, you conspiracy theorist. And it's like, get on out of here with that comment, because after the last 3 years, nobody should be calling anyone a conspiracy theorist. Nobody. So you just can't anymore.
And here, let me I'm gonna share my my screen here so that you guys can see that I'm not just joshing you here, where I've got the definition here of trumped up. There is
and Eva says words are power
and made up.
Oh.
We've got the British English versions, untrue and made up in order to punish someone unfairly.
Oh, so Trump's dealing with trumped up charges?
Trump's dealing with trumped up charges. I mean, it's when you think about all of this being theater and being fake and being just like so much in your face, like it's so crazy that his name is Trump and he's being trumped up charges. Boobies. I
know, it's like you had it come into him because of his name. So somebody asked earlier, why are the Republicans in denial about this? Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Boobies.
Yeah, thank you. Someone asked why the Republicans are in denial about this. And I want to say it's like boy who cried wolf syndrome, because they have gone after this guy so much over and over and over and over and over and over again that nobody even knows what's real anymore. And then, somebody will come back and be like, well, did you read the indictment? I read all 200 pages. And it's like, did you? Because did you actually read the Parental Rights Act that DeSantis to protect the children? Or did you just label it a don't say gay bill? Like, did you read the Pfizer insert as for what, the ingredients that were in it? Oh, they left that part out. Did you read anything? Or are you're only able to read an indictment? So you can't selectively read. That's like people who selectively read Bible stuff.
You know what I read?
It's like you're just you're no better than the Christian nut job who, you know what I mean? that selects their Bible quotes and lives by, like you're just the same person. You're just on the opposite side.
I read headlines that said the opposite of almost everything that we've seen happen in the last 2 years. That's what I read.
That's what I read too.
That's what I read.
Yeah. I heard everything was safe and effective.
I like Thomas here. You know what though? What if we're gonna find out that you can take off you only have 2 tinfoil hats,
yeah,
and possibly only one left, and that's Nessie.
Yeah.
because aliens are
Aliens are here.
pretty much here.
And we still don't
And
know about Bigfoot or Nessie.
Bigfoot, I'm
So
pretty sure there has to be Sasquatches of some kind. There has to be an American gorilla,
wait,
some kind
have
of
you guys gone
American
to the
primate.
Bigfoot Museum? My friend and I went to the Bigfoot Museum. Okay, so I just always thought this was a load of horseshit, like a complete load of horseshit. Then you go to the museum and it starts making you think. And it's like, huh. And if you get a chance to go, it's in Georgia. I'm sure there were a couple of them, but if you get a chance to go to a Bigfoot museum, especially that one in Georgia, go with an open mind, take a look around, see what you think. I don't know. I don't know what I think, but I know that I don't think that he doesn't exist for sure anymore. I'll just put it to you that way.
I mean, they said aliens didn't exist.
Right.
They
Right.
so, and now the
Right.
government's kind of turning on that. So
Right. Yeah.
just wait till we go beyond the ice wall, April. Wait till they finally break the Treaty of Antarctica, the only treaty that has never been broken and is signed by like almost every single country. We might hate Russia and Ukraine are fighting right now, but we're not gonna fucking go to Antarctica, that's for sure. That's one thing we can agree on. Don't go to Antarctica. That's where the giants live. The sea beasts.
So Game of Thrones was accurate.
Yeah.
The ice giants are there.
The ice giants, the dragons, everything is beyond the ice wall.
So basically, we have all our religion wrong, and we should be following the Norse religion, the original pagan religion, with their giants and everything else. They're the ones that got it right, with their seven realms and.
It's the interdimensional launch pad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. So there was a picture that was circulated around this week, and it was a picture at the White House, and it was in the middle was the LGBTQ. I don't know. There's so many more letters added and more letters and colors added. I don't know. It's just gotten bigger. So, and bye. You have a good night. Thank you for joining us. And then next to it were two American flags, and people were reciting the flag code. And I saw it as well. And then I realized, because somebody sent this to me, I realized in the flag code is that the United States flag should be front and center always. And in this particular picture, it was taken at a lower angle with the
it makes
letter,
it the way the
letter
angle
flag
looks,
in the middle.
it makes it kind of like this is the angle, even though it's on like a rotund. So almost everything is still like the same height.
They deliberately cut off the top where the American flag was flying at the top center. Yeah, to just start controversy. So nobody broke any flag codes. But this is just another example of how media, and manipulative it can be. They'll cut you only get part of the story. You only get a little bit. You don't get the whole thing.
Well, it's like they pick and choose. So one of Billy Ray Valentine and Big Ray's good friends, 8-Track Brown, he always likes to kind of combat the Republican side and the conservative sides. And like the flag thing came up, and it was like some conservative guy complaining about the flag, right? Mm-hmm. And he was just like, yeah, and I bet you have like American flag glasses, American flag bikini. Like you wear all of this stuff, which still breaks that flag code law. You're not supposed to have anything with an American flag on it that's not a flag.
True.
Like, that's desecration of the flag. But they pick and choose what they want to be angry at. What's convenient, yeah. And they know, again, showing that and that with everything with the LGBT stuff that's going on right now, they're going to get that emotional reaction out of people.
Which, speaking of, I had a photo shoot this week. I'm desecrating the flag.
That is one great desecration of the flag right there. Hang on, wait. I think I got a soundbite for it here. I don't know if you could hear that.
What was it?
He said, "Ay, cabrón." Oh, you probably can't hear that.
No, I didn't hear microphones. So I haven't put those out yet, but you guys can see them first. Boobies.
April Hunter Patreon. Go and check out the American flag draped boobies.
Yeah, I was in the water. We were doing the shoot, and the shoot was fine. Everything was great, right? So we go and we do it, and I turn around. Here I am, and I come out of the water, and just like that, I sliced my foot on a oyster bed, and I knew it. It's just the minute it happened, I was like, "Fuck!" Got through the whole shoot too, and when I got out, it was deep, and I had a flap of skin just hanging, and I was like, "Oh no!" And we walked like a good 20 minutes to this beach that was empty, and we had to walk all the way back with all our stuff, and I'm just bleeding everywhere, and the photographer's like, let's get you cleaned up, and I'm like, yeah, this is bad. So we got back, and there's just like I said, flap of skin hanging off my foot, and it hurts. So I'm like, I don't have anything with me except for my purse, so I just took the hand sanitizer and just go like this. I squirt it in there, and I'm yelping like a puppy.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that was so much deeper than I thought, because I could see dirt in there inside the cut. There's like this line of stuff. And I was like, it was so bad. So I got home and I put my foot underneath the thing and just irrigated it out and tried to get whatever was in there, at this dirt, the sand, whatever. And then, of course, everybody starts telling me about that person they know who lost their leg because of exactly what I did. They were paddleboarding and they fell and cut their leg on an oyster bed, or they fell and hit an oyster and lost their arm. And like everybody has somebody who lost something because they got septicemia or blood poisoning or infection after down here. Cause this is, and the water was murky, and we're having that seaweed come in with the, we've already had it before, the flesh eating.
Oh yeah,
We're already getting alerts for flesh-eating, disease down here carried with the seaweed. There's a big clump of seaweed right next to me. That's the first thing I looked at when I cut my foot. I'm like, fuck! I need my foot. I live
can't go
alone.
Out like this.
I gotta walk the dogs. I need my foot. You know what I'm saying?
Now, what's the market for a 1 foot fetish?
I don't think it's there.
You don't think there's there? You don't think there are guys that like a done-up nub?
I mean, foot fetish is it's bigger than normal, but it's still a niche category. And I think a 1 foot fetish thing is really niche.
What if you're missing toes?
I don't know.
Anybody
know the answer to this?
Yeah, we need to.
I don't know, but
I know there's some of you foot fetish people here in the chat.
I know there has to be one.
Jamie's here. We don't have rum, but I'm sure you do. Yeah. I've got Coke. Did you bring the rum, Jamie?
There you go, rum. Yeah, so I did that, and it's like it's, and then we still had another shoot to do after that. So I'm running around, I'm doing whatever, and my friend comes over, and the next day, and he looks at me because he dropped something off. He's like, "You need to wear a sock." I'm like, "I do, but everything hurts touching my foot." He's like, "Now you're running around here. The dogs are in and out. Floors are, God only knows what they're bringing in. You have to wear a sock." So it is 100 degrees here in Florida this week, and I'm wearing socks. And are
you bandaged up at least?
No, because I heard you're not supposed to get bandaged. You're supposed to let it stay open and breathe.
That's true, I guess.
But I'm using Bactine Max. This is me spraying it. I'm using Bactine. I'm like spraying that shit in there. No. Anyway, that did not look good, but.
Couldn't you just use peroxide? Can you just throw some peroxide all up on there, April?
I'm just doing it. Yeah, I'm doing this stuff. Yeah.
Or Sabu it. Yes, I'm sure you were taught how to super glue your wounds.
I super glued my dog's wounds. My freaking corgi. When I got him neutered, he decided less than 3. Yeah, put a little Windex on it. Exactly. Less than 3 days later, I thought he was fine. He had a thing on it. He was a satellite head, right? He still managed to reach his wiener to rip the stitches out when he got neutered. This dog is long. He is long. It's like a hot dog, but he's a corgi. Like I thought, his dick is fine. He can't reach it. He could reach it. He reached it. He pulled those stitches out, and the thing was like a gaping hole. It was like this. So I call them. I'm like, oh no. And where I got him neutered was like an hour away at a snip clinic in St. Pete. And I call him. I'm like, my dog ate his stitches, and they're like, well, we're only in on these days. I'm like, so I call my own vet. My vet's like, it's $200 to fix it. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck this shit. I know what to do. I'm like, come here. I'm like, put some super glue on it. Close it up. Oh, look at that. It stayed. Can I just tell you? He's got no scar. I mean, that healed beautifully, like better than if his stitches had stayed in.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a perfect wiener.
That's what she said.
I showed my friend the other day. I'm like, look at this. He's got no scar. You would never know. The whole thing was sliced right open. So
that's crazy. I did have an incident where a coworker of mine, he cut himself, and he came to me like, I cut myself and it won't stop bleeding. And I'm like, I really don't want to send you to the hospital because they're gonna just super glue it, right? Like, I have super glue here. I can do it and save us like $3,000, right? And then he comes back and he's like, no, it's still bleeding. It won't stop. And I'm like, okay, if it won't stop, just go to the hospital, right? So he comes back an hour later from urgent care or whatnot. And I'm like, what'd they do to you? He's like, oh, they just super glued it.
Super glued it. Yeah.
That was what he was going to charge you that $200 for. You know that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Except when you go to the hospital and get it done, it's $1,800 and then a separate doctor charge. So, hey, Thomas, thank you for that. I do have plenty of natural honey because I'm a big fan of putting honey in my coffee. So
there's a gardening guy. He dips roots of things that he's trying to heal the plants in the honey, and then he plants in it. And he says it's antibacterial and it helps the plants feed off the sugar, and it kind of helps bring your plant back to life.
I did not know that. Oh, learn something new every day. Well, I know that if you eat the natural raw honey that is local to your area, and you do that like every day, or better yet, if you can get the what are the granules? The
bee pollen. Yeah,
the bee pollen. That's even better. If you can do that, especially if you're dealing with allergies, you're not going to have allergies next year.
Yeah.
The one year I had it so bad because Florida's got so much going on, and we have such invasive species, and they're coming from everywhere. That my eyes were itchy. I couldn't get my contacts in. My nose is blocked up and runny at the same time. I'm hacking. I'm like, it was bad. And I just started doing the bee pollen thing. Next year, I'm fine.
Do you prescribe in terrain theory?
What's that?
Do you know what terrain theory is? So
I'm assuming it's something to do with dirt.
Virologists and the study of viruses. A lot of people, they think, oh, if you're sick and you're not clean, and that's how you get viruses, that's how they get spread and all this other stuff, right? I
think the opposite.
There's a certain section of virus study that believes that has nothing to do with it. It's all about the area and the terrain in which it's all about your environment.
Okay.
And Sam Tripoli, they were talking about it on one of his shows, and he said that the guy that came up with penicillin or Salk or whoever was a big virologist, basically, like, before he died, basically was like, yeah, it's terrain theory and not like the theory that we've all been saying, right?
Okay.
BRV is going to be very disappointed in me because he had a guy on right around COVID that was trying to explain that, like, viruses and COVID and all that stuff was like terrain caused by terrain theory and all these other things. But it would be something to look into. And because, again, it's all theories are open, right? Like,
okay.
Technically they tell you that gravity is a theory, and gravity's real, but theories aren't real in this field of science. You should look that up. Yeah.
Well,
look up terrain theory.
I'm looking it up right now because I'm sure everybody probably wants to know.
Again, if it has theory after it, it's not a proven scientific fact.
Okay, so there's a difference between germ theory and terrain theory.
Yeah.
So it came from Louis Pasteur.
Pasteur, that's it. The guy who created pasteurization. Yeah.
Right. So, you're right. I'm gonna have to. When exposed to pathogens, will be okay. This is
yeah.
I need to really
remembers that episode. He literally, like, Big Ray just basically called the guy out for, like, selling courses and being a grifter, like, on his show too. That was the cool thing about the show. Like, I've never seen VRV go off like that. The guy hung up on him.
Oh, really?
Yes. The guy was like, for $2,000, you can just, I'll do, and he's like, bro, you're fucking grifting people, bro. Like $2,000, really?
I'm gonna have to look that up because it's a little bit more complicated than just explaining it on here.
Oh yeah, well, it's way more complicated.
Yeah.
That's why I say we need to find somebody that you can bring on the show to talk about it. Or if you want to, guys, look up, like she said, the difference between germ theory and terrain theory. Google that. You can, or DuckDuckGo it. YouTube it now. I guess YouTube's letting you put false information on there. Actually, YouTube's finally letting truthful information on its platform and not disavowing truthful information. So, yeah.
Yeah, Winona saying pure vanilla extract is also a good all-around natural detox. And Winona said also said holistic cures do actually work, but we shy away from them because we tend to be a country of litigation if things go wrong. We also tend to be a country of profit when it comes to healthcare. So there's a very vested interest in us never going to a socialized system because we make so much money off of being sick. Most of our food is so tainted, it cannot be sent outside our borders because the stuff that's in our food is banned in other countries. But we eat it every day, 3 times a day. And we wonder why we have so much diabetes and cancer and disease maintenance and obesity. We have all these problems. And then we are taking pills and prescriptions and more pills and pills. But never are we prescribed anything to prevent illness. There's no active interest in America on prevention. And holistic practice is a lot of prevention and then getting to the root cause. Whereas the American system is putting a Band-Aid on it and never discovering the root cause. It's just like, you have a gushing head wound. Okay, well, here's a pill for that and a Band-Aid, and making money off of it. So this is the core distinction between our healthcare and other people's healthcare, which is pretty much everybody else's healthcare around the world. Plus, in other countries, they can't make money selling their prescriptions because they're socialized or they have universal healthcare. So they sell their prescriptions to us at a massive profit. So
yeah, it's
so it's a global interest in us. Never,
Well, and the globalization again. What's the whole agenda is to put us under a one world global government and all this other stuff that they're trying to now call it something different so that you don't think that again, frog in a pot. They're just slowly turning it up, and we're like, yeah, this is cool. Yeah, I'm totally okay. All right, next thing you know,
it's all tied together. COVID was the catalyst. Actually, 9/11, the Patriot Act was the catalyst to bring in a lot of these laws and rules to start turning up the pot of water, and then COVID is the big catalyst, which the CBD, the digital money, and the land grabs, and the destruction of the environment, and all of this. It's all tied together. It is one big thing. And the digital IDs, all of this is not a conspiracy theory. It's just not. Sorry. No, if you still think it's a conspiracy theory, you need to reevaluate everything about your life, like everything. And you should also look at your partner as well, because you probably took a bad choice there. So
they're going to bring everything that they're doing over in China over here slowly but surely. I mean, your credit score is the start of all that. You leaving a digital footprint is the start of all that. You having an iPhone in your hand that they can track you now. We're there, but we're not quite there. 1984, people. You should definitely read it. Big Ray told me around 7:30 that we are live on Rumble. So welcome everyone that's watching on Rumble.
Awesome.
So we've been live on Rumble the whole entire time.
Thank you to everybody following us there. We appreciate it. And by the way, follow us, like us, set your so you get your notifications. When you follow us and like us and our show gets bigger, we can bring bigger guests on for you. So the more popular we become, the larger the guests get. So it kind of one hand washes the other. So
like, subscribe, share. Make sure you hit that notification bell. I know on YouTube, we don't go live on YouTube all that much, but sometimes you actually have to go in and specifically tell it to notify you when we go live and all that type of stuff. I've learned a lot watching, I didn't used to watch YouTube, but now I watch YouTubers a lot. And I've learned a lot about how some of this stuff works watching these guys and how they've gotten around the shadow bannings and other things like that. So Yeah. So make sure you're
Awesome.
following us, patreon.com/AprilHunter, twitch.tv, The A Show, and Twitter @_The A Show.
Yes, and you can look me up on Twitter, April Hunter, and RealAprilHunter on Instagram. Where can they find you, Colin?
@Colin Wysong on Twitter. You didn't have anything else that you wanted to talk about tonight, April? We don't.
Well, somebody asked if so you right here, Cool Awesome Dude says suggestion of the week is Solo Darling. I did actually contact her, and she and I are going to do an exchange. She said she'd be on my show. I told her I'd be on her show. So, if you guys have suggestions for me on show topics, what to look up, guests, I'll definitely take them and do what I can with them. So let me know.
And if you tweet at them, tag The A Show.
Mm-hmm.
And if more of you get behind it and tweet at the people and and they see some kind of action and following behind it, they'll be more apt to come on the show and do some quid pro quo.
Yeah.
If they come on and shake some titties on this podcast and show, April will go to their show and shake some titties there.
Yep.
It's all a fair trade.
Everybody do some titty shocking. Oh yeah, Weaver. I like that. He said do a show on toxic masculinity.
I think he wants Andrew Tate and me to be on the show.
I don't know if I believe in toxic masculinity, to be honest with you. And that's coming from a female that has been in a man's world and as one of the only females trying to make it in a man's world. I believe in assholes. Don't get me wrong. I believe in assholes. But I don't think I believe in the term toxic masculinity any more than I believe in the term rare before blood clots or anti-vaxxer. I think it's all just a media term. And just, you're going to talk about toxic masculinity. There's toxic femininity also. So if you want, we can do that show, but you might not like the result. Because I think right now they are putting a lot on men that isn't necessarily deserved. And I think that guys are taking the heat, and it's to the point where men aren't able to speak out without being persecuted now.
Well, you know what we do? We just, when we can't succeed, we just go and take over women's sports.
There's that too. Yeah. No, that's toxic masculinity.
Take over women's places. I'm Woman of the Year, won by a man.
I know.
We just go take women's things.
That's something a little different. So I'm glad people are pushing back on that. So
did Starbucks really? That's the other story I wanted to bring up before we get out of here. Did you hear that Starbucks now has to pay a lady, a former manager, $25.6 million because she proved they fired her because she was white?
Get out. How'd she prove it?
I don't know, but she did. She won. And then apparently I think Starbucks is also supposedly telling them to hide the Pride merch.
What? Wait, tell me this again.
So I have to look it up to see if it's true or not. I heard something say that they were telling people at Starbucks not really flaunting the Pride stuff because they want conservatives to come in and
oh yeah, after last year shoving all the Pride stuff down everyone's throat. I mean, I've never seen it worse than last year. And then I think all the kickback with the Bud Light and the Target and everything. I think businesses would probably be smart to kind of keep it to a minimum.
So I don't know how true that one is that I'm talking about with them hiding the Pride merch, because I can't see that. Oh wait, maybe it's. Let me check Twitter, because the other thing that I'm doing. Oh yep. So right here, amazing. Starbucks is taking down all Pride decorations in stores across the United States
because people are boycotting.
Yeah, and it's Pride Month. That's crazy that they're doing it during.
Yeah, they're boycotting. Well, they've you've got a group of people that have tried to turn the American flag into a racist symbol. So what are you going to do? You're gonna get a reaction to that action, right? And you're probably not going to like it. So what's happening is now you have pissed off the other side. The other side is going to turn that Pride flag into a boycott. Oh, we're going to boycott over it, and people don't understand. Gay people had to fight really hard to get equal rights. It is deserved. It was hard on them. A lot of us have seen it firsthand. But the bullshittery that's going on around it, it's been a movement that's been hijacked by the media and by a fringe group of victimization that, it's gotten to be where it's unbelievable. And most gays are not on board with where it's headed and where it's been. Most trans people are not on board with what has been shoved down everyone's throats. So they don't need the sensationalism and the all of this stuff, because everybody knows, hopefully everybody knows this. The government doesn't care about your issues. They're just using your issues until the next best thing comes along. They don't care if you're gay, trans, black, white, Asian. They don't care. They don't care. Right now, if you're the hot thing that they can use as a wedge, they're going to use it as a wedge. But they don't give a fuck about you. They're just using it until they get what they want out of it. And then you're going to be thrown under a bus until the next thing comes along that they can just drive a wedge between groups. So the American flag is not a white supremacy symbol. It never will be, as much as they want to try. The pride flag, people want to boycott. I can understand why, because like I said, the movement's been hijacked, but it's a shame people feel that way.
Do you want to know something else that's going to upset you? Because you're a comic book person, so I would hope that you've heard about this. Did you hear that they're changing the Punisher's symbol?
I heard that.
And it's going to be like a shinobi-looking Punisher. In some of the newer comic books, he's got more Asian-looking features and not white. And then supposedly his wife is alive and is like...
What? That kills the story.
Yeah, the new imagining of this, his wife is alive, and basically tells him that she wishes he didn't avenge her death. Like she supposedly survives that the shooting incident or whatever, and he still goes on and kills all the mafia people or whatever. And she's like, yeah, I wish you hadn't done that. I wish you had just done
Why
this.
Are they doing that?
Because they're trying, again, emasculating men. The Punisher is a symbol of, and now they're getting rid of the symbol because they say it's
taken by the military.
Taken by the military and the Proud Boys and white supremacists and all that other type
the
of
Punisher
stuff.
The Punisher is a Marvel superhero who doesn't have superpowers. That's why a lot of people like it. That's why a lot of soldiers appreciate it, because it's one of the very, very, very few comic book heroes where he doesn't have any superpowers. He's just a really good shot.
Yeah.
That's it. He didn't get bitten by a spider. He didn't. Yeah, he's not a bat. He doesn't evolve into something. He doesn't have a thing. He's just a trained warrior.
He's got a mission. He's going to complete it.
So it is not a racist thing it's just that he's human and he's more relatable to people, especially people in that field who are being sent out to do basically to go out and kill people for a living. So why are they being bastardized because they have adopted that symbol?
So apparently they're doing it because he's becoming the leader of the Hand, which again, I don't get why you're making him the leader of the Hand when he goes after organized crime and the Hand is an organized crime unit. It doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. Enjoy your comic books. I love old Punishers, the War Journal, old school Punishers. I was 8 years old watching Punisher shoot, reading Punisher shoot people and stuff like that. It's great comic books.
As Jamie says, he was a Marine.
Yeah, he's a Marine. He was a former military person. Yeah, basically it's revenge. That's all he's supposed to be, and they're trying to take that away.
Well, you saw what's happened with some of the stuff they've messed with lately. I can't see that going well for them, but we'll see. We'll see. What was that movie they did? They made the whole movie and it never came out. They did the whole thing, and it was
the Batgirl movie.
The girl.
The Batgirl movie, yeah.
Yeah. Did the whole thing, lost all the money. They just couldn't even release it. Then, of course, you've got, what was it, the Velma thing.
Mm-hmm.
you
The
know, and
Scooby Doo, the new Scooby Doo,
right. Yep.
where
So
they were racist and made the pot smoking Shaggy a black person with dreads.
yes.
Like we're trying to be inclusive, but no, you're being stereotypical and
And
racist.
the white guy was the really dumb one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you ever notice what were we watching? We were watching something. I was watching it with a friend of mine who was white. And I was watching C, which I'm just watching the show. And he's like, "Do you see the agenda here?" He's like, "All the white guys are evil. And they're all stupid and evil. They're all stupid and evil." I'm just watching the show, man.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to. He's like,
see that
he's like, "Do you see it though? Do you see it?" It's like he goes, "It's brainwashing. It's programming you that all the white guys are evil and stupid."
That's true. That's true.
And I had to stop and think.
Can we? But let's full circle. Let's go back to the start of the show, right? If you take a break from politics and you don't think, just enjoy art for what it is. Enjoy the movie for what it is sometimes, right? Like if it's blatant and totally like hitting you over the head, like, yeah, like let's say something about it, right? But let's kind of annoy it, right? Like I'm an adult. My kid might not realize that, right? Like my son was watching a show one day and this cloud, and you know how they draw clouds, like they draw clouds and they've got the little ruffle balls, right? So the cloud is going over this road and all of a sudden one of its balls from its cloud like gets stuck in the road, right? Now I see that and I'm like, look at that, testicles getting stuck on a road, right? Like I'm dirty adult here, like that's some cloud balls right there. And like my son's just like, ha, that's funny, the cloud's stuck. He's not thinking anything.
They don't see that. No.
He doesn't see that. And it's just like they say that kids are taught racism. You put a bunch of kids of different colors in a room, what are they going to do? They're going to play with each other.
They're going to play together.
Totally going to play with each other. They're not going to care that one's white, one's black, one's green, purple,
They are
gold.
taught racism. They're taught it at home too.
Daddy. Come here, Papa. Come here. You want to give me a hug? He wants to come in and give me a hug.
Hola, bambino.
Please go bye-bye. Adios, muchacho.
So yeah, and Alex says, don't forget they also messed with Superman and his son as well. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm just watching it, but to a group of people who feel like it's a deliberate agenda, you can see we're endlessly being singled out and shown something on TV, and this has happened for years. It was mostly black people that were targeted. They were only ever shown as thug and gangster and arrests and drug dealers. And that's all that, for ages. That's all they were. That was it. It was like, just fucking cast the film, just cast the TV show. They were just put in these stereotypical shitty roles, So now it's coming there. Now it's happening to white guys. You don't fix racism with racism.
Well, and I like how, the 60s and 70s, they fought for desegregation, and now we're aiming to segregate places now. We're resegregating places now where we want white-only areas. Oh, wait, no, we can't have those. We have black-only areas and Asian-only areas and Hispanic-only areas and things like where they do that. You saw where they had the graduation at some college, and it was they had a black person only graduation. So like only African Americans were allowed to go to that graduation. Like,
really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know Martin Luther King, but I'm pretty sure all the stuff that he fought for so that they could share the same water drinking fountain as everyone else. Now it's like, no, now we want separate water fountains. Now his head would explode if he saw how things were now.
Oh my God. That's one of the things I really love about where I live in Florida. It's funny. I know Florida has this horrible created rap on the internet and everything. People think Florida this, Florida that, but I cannot tell you it's not further from the truth. Like in reality, people are very live and let live here. We don't have an Asian section or a black section or a white section or a Latino section. Everybody lives together. And I've never seen such lack of racism as I have in Tampa Bay. And I love it because I've lived in so many other places where it's like it's sectioned off and it's just the gays live on this side and the Asians live over here in Chinatown. And I love that, in Boston you have, West End, East End, and, Jamaica Plain. And here it's not like that. Everybody lives together and everybody gets along, and it's different. And whenever I see people attacking Florida all the time, it's like, I can understand why you would, because we live in high def. People get along. It's live and let live. We're allowed to protect ourselves. We don't deal with the racism or bullshit, and we're allowed to speak out about it. I can see why you would hate us. I can see why you would say some shit about us or lie about our COVID deaths. I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. See, as AB Twitch says, there's a segregation resurgent.
When I went to school, I moved when I was and I know we got to go, but when I was, what year was this? I don't want to give away my age, but it was not that long ago. I moved from Philadelphia down to Alabama, and my high school prom was segregated. The black prom was on Friday night, and the white prom was on Saturday night. And I thought, I was shocked, coming from Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is pretty freaking racist. Philadelphia is pretty racist. But I was just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait, what? We had a black prom on Friday night? So, and the irony of the situation was we had a live band for our prom, and everybody was in the band was black. So they were apparently allowed to play the music.
Money's money. Doesn't matter.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Money. So this happened in my lifetime. So to see that people would elect to segregate again is unbelievable to me, to see after everybody has fought so hard for desegregation. Why do you think I got so pissed off about COVID and vaccines? I saw segregation.
Mm-hmm.
That made me angry. That was flat out segregation. You're telling one class of people they can't travel, they can't work, they can't do anything, and they're a lower class of people because they're not doing what you want them to do. Segregation made me angry. That's not equal rights.
No, and here I get Weaver's point here too, because I do see it in some of the area. I live in the Triangle. It's a big area. There's Durham. There's an international airport here. In the high density urban areas, you do see, especially like in certain areas where I live, there are Indian areas.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are your more Middle Eastern areas. Mm-hmm. And it's mostly because that's where businesses are popping up too, from those cultures and everything. So a lot of those people that are coming over here because of the language barrier and all of that type of
mm-hmm.
stuff, there are those areas because they're comfortable for them to be in, where they can go and speak their native language. They can kind of live in their own little areas. Now, that doesn't mean that we get places like I've heard in California where, and this was back in 2009, 2010, a guy that was in a certain part of Southern California went to a McDonald's. They said hello to him in Spanish, tried to take his order in Spanish. When he spoke English to them, they took his order reluctantly, right? Mm-hmm. And then basically when he pulled up to the window, they were like, hey, look, you don't want to be in this part of town or anything. Like, we normally don't take people that speak English. Like, you don't want to be here, right? Like, and this is in America, in California, mm-hmm. And this was 10 to 12 years ago that this happened. So, there's areas out there where they're totally okay with being segregated. And if you're not a part of that group, get out of here. But in those Triangle areas, there's a necessity for it too. If you're from another country and you're not familiar with McDonald's, but you see like a Mediterranean place or a halal place or something like that, you'll know that you can go there because you see your language and stuff.
When I was staying in Japan, even if you can speak the language a little bit, you're still going to be illiterate. You still can't mm-hmm. understand the writing, the kanji. So it wasn't uncommon to get lost, and I as a foreigner in a country that was so different than mine, I was extremely grateful when they had signs in English. You know, I'll see people in this country get very angry and say, why do I have to press 2 for, we'll press 1 for English? It's like, because we're not unkind, because we're trying to make it easy and inclusive. And it's really hard to be a foreigner in a strange land. And if people traveled, they would know this. Yeah. So going to a train station, going somewhere where your language is included, it's kind of a big deal. And I remember how exhausted I would be after working on set or working with people that were almost all Japanese. I was one of the only people that spoke English. I'm trying to pick up the language. Half the time I'm failing miserably and things are coming out weird, like, oh, kodasai ni mizu. And it's like, I'm trying. And
so
I'm trying, but you're talking and you're using so much energy because you're thinking and you're trying to break everything down slowly, and you're using a combination of English and Japanese, and you're using you're doing this with your hands. You're like, house, and meow, meow.
Just don't go to Japan and ask for a hot dog. That could be really
no.
You're like,
but at the end of the day, I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I took an SAT test all day long. So there was an area there, Roppongi, where, so he's saying the round eyes would go. So, the gaijin would go. And it was a place where it's like the Australians, the Canadians, the, basically anybody who spoke English would hang out in Roppongi, Americans, the British. And there's always an Australian. No matter where you go, there's an Australian somewhere. They just show up, just there with their backpack. But you could go there and you knew people were going to speak English, and you could go there and you could talk, and people would understand you and they would listen. And it was like, oh, I can say things, and I say them one time and they understand. And unless you have had this experience, and so many people have not because they do not travel, unless you have had this experience, you don't really know what it's like to be in a country where English is your second language. It's fucking hard. It's hard. And it's hard because Americans are such assholes sometimes about the language that they can barely speak or write, and they don't know the difference between there, and there.
Well, and their language
or then and then.
Their language is based off all those other languages.
Yes.
Realistically, like, they say we speak English, but realistically we speak American.
Yes.
Like, if you really want to get technical, we speak American.
We speak a Germanic language with a heavy Latin influence.
Yeah. And a lot of words that have other influences too.
Yes.
But again, Latin is the root of most of, written language. So
yeah. So it's like, it's I wish more people traveled and could have that experience. If I had 2 wishes for Americans, or if I had a wish for Americans, I wish they could all go to some place really, really different and not on a cruise. Like, go to Asia somewhere and stay there. Go to Germany. Go to other first world countries and see what they have going on, and then come back here. Go to Asia, and and also go to Cuba. I wish we could still go to Cuba because I spent time in Cuba. Go there, not on a cruise. Go there and visit and spend some time there. And when you come home, you are going to be so grateful for the things you have. Like, just open up a tap and have running water.
Look, not to poke fun at Brittany Griner, but you saw she's standing for the national anthem now. So, you see what going over to another country.
See what travel does for you, right?
See what travel can do for you, right? You have a newfound respect for where you came from after.
And you realize when you come home, we have so much choice, and we can drink the water out of the tap. And 9 times out of 10, you can walk as a woman after 10 o'clock at night across a parking lot, and you are safe.
You can practice whatever religion you want.
Yes, you can. You can say whatever you want.
You can be LGBTQ and out and open about it, and not have to hide in fear of death.
Yep. You can date a Black person or a white person or an Asian person, and you can kiss them in public if you want, and no one's going to kill you.
You can drink alcohol and smoke weed.
Yep.
And in some states, do shrooms legally without fear of death. But go to China, let them catch you doing weed.
Yep. Yep. So there's so much here that we can be grateful for that most people don't even understand. It's shocking to me. So yes, and traveling teaches you so much.
If you went to Cuba, would you go to the world's largest ice cream parlor?
No,
No.
no, no. I did go to. I went to Saltillo to see how the cigars were grown and rolled. So that's I wanted to see. I wanted to see that. I wanted to learn about sustainable farming because at that time, as an island, Cuba was doing a lot of sustainable farming on its own. I wanted to see how exactly they could support themselves. And I saw a lot of Russian aid and China aid there. They had a Russian Lado. It was just this little Russian car. So it's interesting. The communists support communists.
Mm-hmm.
So you see trucks that say China aid everywhere. It's also interesting to see the old American cars from the days of Batista, where they basically were like MacGyvered. They were held together with duct tape and rubber bands and some glue, and they were running, man. The Cuban people,
those cars will do good.
The Cuban people are very can do. You know what I mean? They can do it. So they're very interesting people, and I think we in Florida are lucky to have a whole lot of them here.
I mean, you got to see, like, when things are taken away from you, you got to be able to pivot
resourceful.
Or be resourceful. Yeah, yes. You got to be able to adapt. That's the word I was looking for.
We can learn a lot from them.
If you look at like the Chinese people that were fighting during the riots and stuff like that, the China took all their weapons and everything away from them that they could use. They were taking shirts and spraying them with starch and layering and making armor out of cloth and starch to help protect themselves from the rubber bullets. And they were making shields out of cloth and starch. Like, it's crazy how
that's amazing.
This stuff is when people get a chance of like, take stuff away from me. I will find some way around whatever you got to do to screw me over.
Gam, Fidel is not running Cuba anymore. You know that, right?
That's right.
It's been an election or two since then.
But bringing up the China truck thing, April, the reason why you see a lot of the Chinese trucks still, they are helping communist countries, but China is also, what they're doing is hey, you give us a little cut, we'll come in and we'll help your infrastructure and everything like that out, but you got to be loyal to us. Right. So they're trying to go out and, like how we have allies, they're going out and trying to get their allies, but they're doing it through coercion. Because basically it's like, how dare you go against us? We gave you $8 billion to fix your roads.
Nobody does anything for free. Yeah, no. The roads are not fixed there.
No, they're definitely not. But I'm saying they're doing this in other countries. Like China is actually coming in and basically holding you hostage by fixing your infrastructure in a lot of these other countries. Corgos,
thank you. Yeah, the roads are terrible. They don't have internet. They have like 200 hotspots around the entire island, and people go outside to play and talk to their neighbors, and it's weird. But it's weird to see people not on their phones nonstop. But there's a lot of good things about Cuba too that I don't think they realize. And as somebody who has come from a more advanced country, who has seen what these advancements have done to us as far as the socialization or desocialization, it was really refreshing to see children outside playing, neighbors talking to each other, adults outside with a chessboard playing. It was nice to see. It was like going back to the 1980s.
Yeah, I've heard it's nice there. It looks old, but it's like nice there, and it's got a different feel to it because it's not as it's still a backwardness. I mean they're not a third world country, but it's
pretty third world.
Pretty close, yeah. It's pretty close.
Third world, yeah.
April, it's 2 hours.
It is. We got to go. We're holding everybody
out of here. So let's remind everybody where they can find you at.
You can find me on Twitter at April Hunter, on Instagram, RealAprilHunter, Patreon April Hunter, and AprilHunter.net. So thank you for joining us live on Wednesday nights on Rumble and Twitch. And I know we ran over, and any other questions you have, feel free to submit them to me online and I'll get to you. And thank you very much.
This is actually a really good one. One last thing for Chowny Man. April needs to pec flex challenge any woman that can try to take her title. That's what you need to do. We need to do
I
viral
do.
on the street, out pet flex April Hunter. Just go get Jason Lopez to follow you around with a camera
Yeah, I
and
should.
get him to do. Oh my god, that would be so fun.
That
Can
would
you
be
out
fun.
pet flex?
I
And you
should
do it
just
with
have him
men
follow me around
too.
the gym. He should come to the
Give him
gym and I'll just
like a
walk around with
dollar,
people.
$5, something like
Yep,
that. Like
I should.
that would be pretty sweet,
Get to the
guys.
gym at like a busy time.
Yes, that'd be awesome. Guys, it's been the A Show. It's been fun coming back. Thank you for having me, April. I'll
Welcome
be
to Titty
watching.
Mania. Sorry.
I'll be watching. I'll be watching. Hey, the Sex Championships.
Oh, I know, right?
You need to be the brand mascot. Here we go.
I'll
Spokeswoman,
I'll do commentating for that.
commentary, play by play.
Oh, and he went to go get the rope, but we already had some rope over here. No, those were handcuffs. Yeah.
Guys, thank you very much. Come back next week. We'll have a beautiful bald-headed Puerto Rican guy in this chair next week, and we'll see you.
Awesome. All right, you guys have a good one. Thank you for being here. Mwah.
Boobies. Boobies.